Welcome to the SEO.co Search Engine Optimization Podcast. Digital marketing essentials and next level tactics. From offsite and on-site optimization to persuasive selling and everything in between. You'll learn actionable tips on what it takes to outright and outrank your competition. Now, here's your host, Timothy Carter.
Thanks for joining me on the podcast. Today we're going to talk about 5 bad content and blogging habits to avoid. Good old habits. They either make you or break you. It's no less true for bloggers and writers. I've seen a lot of promising writers who put off writing down their best ideas until basically someone else has beaten them to it. Others let distractions and social media destroy their passion. There are other counterproductive habits that are worth discussing, but the goal of this article is to help you get back on the writing track by determining which bad habits is causing you the serious problems. Like with anything in life, content writing is vulnerable to the development and persistence of some, very bad habits. Bad habits in the writing, publishing, and syndication of your content can interfere with your overall quality, that long-term viability of your campaign, and, of course, the size and loyalty of your readership. Fortunately, your content strategy is an ever-evolving entity, and no matter how long these habits have been forged, it is possible to break them if you're aware of them and have committed yourself to that process of making that change. So, if you catch yourself involved in any of these 5 content habits, it's time to reevaluate your strategy and try to move past them. So I'd say the first one would be irregular posting frequency. Skipping posts is a perennial problem among newbies and even some of the most seasoned people out there. The danger of posting inconsistently is that it's a surefire way to annoy visitors who have developed maybe a liking for your blog, and they expect on a certain day or a certain week that you're going to be creating new content. So if you intend to attract a steady stream of loyal followers over time, be sure to post on a regular basis. Now, how regularly should you post? Well, it depends on you. You could update your blog daily, 2 or 3 times a week, every other business day. No matter what schedule you choose, stick to it religiously. One of the biggest benefits of posting regularly is that content freshness plays into search rankings. The more you post fresh, relevant content around the topics that your site is optimized for, the more the search engines will give you favorable rankings over time. I'd say the next one, while the importance of consistency in a content, marketing program, it can't be understated. It really is important. While each of your articles, obviously needs to be a unique piece, they also need to fall in line with a consistent voice, a consistent feel, and consistent schedule. Small business owners especially have a hard time, maintaining a consistent publication schedule since, content marketing may not be a primary concern, and obviously resources are scarce. Some entrepreneurs take it upon themselves to do all the writing for their business. The publication of articles becomes random based on their whims and business circumstances. This kind of inconsistency makes it impossible to build a loyal audience. Unpredictable publications mean nobody knows when to check back for more updates. It's kind of like the old school magazines, People Magazine, Reader's Digest, National Geographic, all published the same time consistently year after year and built and established that expectation. So, if you're consistent, there will be a dramatic change. Also, focusing on inconsistent topics can be a problem, especially if you start moving outside of your business's realm of expertise. It's important to have a diversity of topics available for your disposal, but you'll also want to become known as an expert in your niche. If you can't, your business, might fall into a pit of irrelevance, so to speak, with, overly general or non-specifically written material geared towards your client's questions and what would drive them to your site. So having consistent, specific content matters. Also, having a consistent brand voice can be that glue and that personality to hold your separate topics together. So make sure you have an outline and a plan for it, especially if you have multiple writers on staff. And if you run out of ideas to blog about, I'll put in the show notes, a list to keep those creative copyright, juices flowing and ideas coming. Number 2 would probably be ignoring visitors. Nothing is more rewarding for bloggers than, seeing readers visit their blogs regularly. If you've developed regular followers for your site, let them know you're thankful by acknowledging them. Make it a point of appreciating them by posting a tweet about it, moderating the comments, etc. And if people are tweeting your post, definitely return the favor by tweeting their content or simply posting a shout out or tweet that acknowledges that attention. Make acknowledging your visitors a regular habit, not only to build solid loyalty among your followers, but also to develop, a healthy two-way relationship from which both you and your readers will benefit over time. I'd say another bad habit would be, paying too much attention to stats. Paying attention to those stats is a great way to learn how you're doing and how to improve your blog. And it gives you insight as to where your visitors are coming from and which keywords, they've used to find you. However, you should not be, obsessed over numbers. It's really counterproductive. Overanalyzing your stats eats up precious time that can be used to produce further great content. So if you create great content on a constant basis, the numbers will take care of themselves over time. Bad habit number 4, obsessing over social networking. Yeah, sure. It's great to create relationships with followers via Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, TikTok, wherever you find your social home. It's also a great idea to pursue some marketing on social media so your blog can gain exposure to even more eyeballs that are out there. However, don't trade your writing time for social networking time. You must continue to dedicate a sufficient block of your time to thinking, researching, and then composing that great content. Focus on constantly creating excellent content for your audience. And if your content is worthy enough to go viral, loyal readers and one-time visitors will take care of doing that social marketing for you. So, to deal with this problem, set a time for writing and a separate time for social media interaction. Scheduling your writing activities for part of the day when you feel most productive. And definitely going back to routine, this habit, stick to this to be, to really continue to produce high quality, useful content for your audience. And that's the heart and the lifeblood of your blog, is to provide those ideal answers to your customers' questions when they're doing searches. So once you've got that done and knocked out, the rest of your time, it should be free for you to do as you please. But definitely be sure to acknowledge your visitors and interact with them on social media. Just don't go overboard. Everything in moderation. Number 5, limiting your content to newsjacking and content borrowing. So, I guess let's get one thing straight here. Newsjacking totally can be a valuable part of your content strategy, as long as it's only part of it. Newsjacking, that the process of scouting the news for articles relevant to your business and repurposing, or worse, duplicating the article to be valuable to your readers, is useful because it takes a smaller degree of effort than most articles, since the bulk of that content already exists in some form because of the news and because of its timeliness and relevance. However, once you've newsjacked a series of articles, you might become accustomed to the workflow and basically proceed to newsjack the majority of your new posts. The same habit can occur, when you browse your competitors' blogs for inspiration. Rather than reading up on new material, thinking about it, and brainstorming your own new topics, you might get used to cherry picking new topics directly from those outside sources. While these habits might allow you to skate by Google's algorithms and impress your users for a limited time, if this represents the entirety of your content strategy, you will be setting your site up for a major downfall. You'll never be able to become an authority in your respective field if you don't have a sizable contribution of unique content, materials, facts, and opinions that users can't get anywhere else. So feel free to leave newsjacking as just a component of your strategy, but definitely don't neglect the importance of original content. So, as we wrap this up, habits, they can take a long time to form and a long time to break. So it's only natural that they'll take a long time to break in some cases. So, these habits can result, in a serious burden for your content marketing campaign. So it's essential that you get rid of them eventually, but try not to get discouraged if you find it difficult at first. So instead of trying to break them all at once, focus on a habit at a time and make a series of gradual changes in your processes to improve upon that area of your campaign. So when you break that process down into a series of manageable, actionable steps, you'll have a much easier time being consistent over these bad habits and basically restoring your content marketing strategy to its former glory, or, taking it to the next level that you've never been before. And I think that'll about wrap this episode up. So if you need some help in breaking that bad blogging habit and you need some content ideas and some help in scaling that consistency, come on over to SEO.co and schedule a time to have a free consultation. Learn how we can help you scale your ability to outwrite and outrank your competition.
Thank you for joining us on the SEO.co podcast. We appreciate your time. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit SEO.co for more resources based on today's topic, as well as access to more podcast episodes to help you improve your site's long-term SEO success.